Hi, I've recreated my Nikkie Tutorials inspired makeup, so if you want to see how I created it, just keep watching. So I'm just starting off with the Plouise base. This is in shade 2. I'm just using a flat synthetic brush just to carve out my brow. Then once I'm happy with the shape underneath my brow, I just pat the product all over my eyelid, still with the flat brush, and then I use a fluffier brush. This is a Peaches and Cream brush, just to blend in the product. I find that this blends it in a lot easier than what a flat brush does, and then it just means I can blend the edges into my skin and get rid of any lines. So now I'm just using the Iconic London Warm Tan Concealer. I'm just patting this in the shape that I'm going to want the eyeshadow. I find when I do brown eyeshadows, to place down a darker concealer first makes it so much easier to map out the shape, and then you don't have to do as much blending with the darker eyeshadows because you kind of got the shape there for you already. The shape that I'm doing is just sort of winging it out towards the end of my eyebrow and to my temple, down through the crease, and then blending it up into my eyebrow at the front. So here I'm just using Frenchy from the Morphe 24G palette, and I'm literally just patting this on top of where I've put that concealer, so I'm not worrying too much about blending at the minute. I'm just patting the colour on there and just slightly blending any edges just so they don't get harsh, but I just basically want the colour as pigmented as possible. And now I'm just going in with Mojo from the same palette. I'm sticking to the same shape as I've got, but I'm not going as high as when I went in with Frenchy. So I'm just keeping it slightly lower, but still winging it out and bringing it towards the front of my brow. I always tend to pat the colour on and then blend it as I go, just because I don't want any lines to get too harsh, but I do want quite a vibrant colour. Remember to keep hydrated, everyone. So here I'm going in with Mooch from the same palette again. I'm basically repeating the exact same steps as before. I'm just bringing it slightly lower every time, so still winging it out, just not as far, and I'm still blending it through the crease and up to the brow, just not as high, so it's more focused in the crease the darker that the colours get. And then I'm using Baked from the same palette, and I'm really keeping this quite focused just to the outer edge. Here I'm just using the Iconic London Chrome Flash Pot in Cosmic. I find this easiest to apply with my finger. It just seems to get the best colour payoff and pigment straight on there. It's just with nails it's a little bit hard to blend it into the edges, so I kind of pat the colour on there as much as I want and then use a brush just to blend the edges in a little bit and get rid of any lines. Over the top of that I'm just applying Gatsby from Peaches and Cream, just to add even more sparkle. Not like I really need it anymore, to be honest, but you know, you can never have too much glitter, can you? So I'm just going back in with my previous shades on fluffy brushes. I've probably lost some colour when I've added the glitter, so it just sort of defines the outer corner and the crease a little bit again. So now I'm using the Inglot number 90 gel liner, it's just the brown one. I'm just creating a wing with this, so I'd like to drag it from the very outer corner of my eye up sort of towards the end of my eyebrow, and then drag that sort of just below the tip back towards the middle-ish of my eye, and then I just fill that in. I hope that was an okay explanation. I also don't worry too much about the very outer edge of my eyeliner because I use a wipe and sharpen that up anyway, so it doesn't really matter if that's not perfectly straight. I literally use any mascara, I don't really care as long as it doesn't transfer everywhere. This is just a tester of a NARS one. And then I'm applying these are unicorn lashes in Cherry Top. So this was my first time actually trying this foundation. It's the MAKIAGE one, and I just did the quiz online to pick my shade, so I think it's pretty alright, to be fair. I'm probably as good as I could match myself, so I was pretty pleased with it. When I do my foundation, I put a couple of pumps on the back of my hand, then use my finger to dot it all over my face, and then I use this Surreal Technique sponge to blend it in. I find that I don't use as much product this way rather than if I just got the sponge and dipped it into the foundation on the back of my hand. I did add some Maybelline 24-hour Superstay on top of that Il Makiage foundation. I just felt like, personally, I needed more coverage. So here I'm just using the Iconic London Warm Tan Concealer again, and I'm just using this as a cream contour, so I'm putting it on my cheekbones, forehead, nose, which looks crazy, I always do that pretty messy, and then around my lips. Then I'm just using a Zoeva brush to blend this in. I do find this concealer blends like an absolute dream. It literally blends so easy. With other concealers or cream contours as well, I would never usually apply it in stripes on my face. I'd put it on the brush first because I find that they tend to dry down and then it's really hard to blend. But this one just stays so creamy, it's just mint. Any product details as well I will put down in the box below, so you can go back and have a look there if I've forgot to mention anything. You can see on my nose as well I apply it quite messily, but I think you're going to blend it in anyway, so it doesn't matter if your lines are perfect because they're not staying like lines. I do go over my nose with a sponge as well just to blend it in better. So this is the Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in C5. This one isn't too light, so I apply this first under my eyes, and then this is the Infinite Concealer in C3, so this is a bit brighter, and I use this underneath my eyes as well, my chin, cupid's bow, nose, forehead. I used C5 as well since it's closer to my skin tone, just on kind of the bottom of my cheeks towards my jaw, just I don't have the clearest skin there at the minute. I just blend this in with the same sponge that I used for my foundation. Then without adding any other product, I just use the brush that I used for my cream contour just to go back over where I applied that because it tends to get a bit lost with the concealer. Then this is the RCMA No Colour powder. It's mint this. It's so cheap and it lasts absolutely ages. I just apply this where I applied my concealer basically. I just pack quite a decent amount on and then swipe it away. Then with a brush I'm just applying the Morphe Pinky Swear cheek mousse, just where I want my blush basically. Then I'm just applying the Wet n Wild Warm Light pressed powder. I do like to set my face quite a bit. I just can't stand my face to feel like it's still got like wet foundation on it. In any lines, my foundation does really tend to sink into, so if I powder a lot, it seems to stay on so much better. So I just apply this the same as my RCMA powder, just where I put concealer really. So now I'm just applying the MAC Mineralize Skin Finish in Dark Tan, literally just where I cream contoured, so cheekbones, forehead, nose. I do like to bring my contour out sort of from my eyes to my temples just to kind of chisel my face a little bit more because I do have quite a round head. And I add some to my jaw to get rid of those double chins that I've gained in lockdown. Then I'm just using the Milani Soleil Baked Bronzer. I kind of just apply this to my cheeks, head, nose, chin, basically all over my face, just to warm it up. Then I'm just doing the Nikkie Tutorials trick of, I've kind of applied bronzer and that all over my nose and then using a lighter powder to go down the edges just to try and make my nose look a bit nicer. Then I'm just applying the L'Oreal Life's a Peach blush. This is my first time trying this actually, but I love a peach blush. I just put this on my cheeks, my nose, my head and chin again. I do really love blush. Now the best part, highlighter. This is Doll Beauty Shine Bright, and then I add a little bit of the Champagne Supernova Duo, the lighter one in there, so I'm guessing champagne. I add that over the top just to brighten it a little bit more, and I put it on my cheekbones, cupid's bow, tip of my nose, top of my nose, and a little bit on my forehead, but not too much. This might be too much highlight for some people, but I love it. I just go back in with my blush brush just to blend it together, and then give myself a spray of the Caudalie Grape Water. For my lower lash line, I just use the same palette as before, and I use Frenchy first and then darken it slightly with Baked. Then I'm using MAC Nylon on the inner corner. Then sorry, I filmed my eyeliner really bad because I'm looking in the viewfinder, but it's the Inglot white gel liner. I put it in my waterline. Then I bring it kind of from my waterline into my inner corner onto my skin. Then I just created a cat eye effect with the brown liner by bringing it into the inner corner. Here I'm just using the NYX brow pencil in Espresso, and I'm just sort of flicking this up through my brows to create some brow hairs, fill them in a little bit, but I'm very lazy with my eyebrows really. Then this is the Morphe lip liner in Sweet Tea. Then the Doll Beauty lipstick in Dolled Out. This is a very, very light nude, but I just use it with a darker lip liner. Then I'm using the Milani Champagne lip plumping gloss. I absolutely love these lip glosses, they're literally so good. Then I always go over my lips again with a little bit of lip liner just to kind of bring back the definition a little bit. And that is it. I'm just sorting out my hair, getting ready to pose. But I hope you've enjoyed. I don't even know what I'm saying, to be honest. I've never done this before, but give it a thumbs up, I guess. Like it. Tell us if you want to see more. Yeah? Bye.